Just released with Andre Wade. Yeah, I told you I'd be back with something else. I'm coming back where I left off at. I was telling you all, pray peace upon y'all families once again, as well as those that's incarcerated. I told you my first time uh, going to prison. That was one of the, I think I was 20 years old. I got locked up when I was like about 18, 18 going on 19, and I stayed locked up to about when I was 20. And uh, I did most of that time inside. Matter of fact, I stayed locked up 17 months and some days fighting those robbers that they was placing on me, and I beat every last one of them because I didn't do those, and they dismissed them. But I was on probation, and by me being warned, I was on the run. They violated me. That's one thing about being on probation. You got one foot in and one foot out, and back in then you just wanted to get out, so you took probation and got out, right? So I experienced that county for 17 months. I'm talking about being moved from floor to floor, 10th floor, 11th floor. They wouldn't take me no further down, and it was to a point where I couldn't even go on 10th floor no more because they didn't practically put me on every tank they can put me on, and everywhere I was going, they was putting extortion cases on me, because they said I was running the tanks or something. And and I mean, when I tell you that I was doing my thing, I knew laws from the streets. Uh, I met laws inside that knew me from a previous time, but that was my aggravated time. I went bald at one time, and then they used to come and get me to take me on tanks on the juvenile tanks and get on them little old delinquent boys. Thought they was bad. Yeah, they used to do that on the county, and and I experienced all that, getting out there doing time with dudes like Mass Murder, was original Smurf guy. He in Houston, one of the original first gangs in Houston, Texas, which was the Smurf, that was well known and doing the things that they was doing at that time. And so I had the opportunity to do a lot of time with dudes like Stony, Johnny Cool, just meeting all those kind of guys, Kung Fu, dudes like that, that knew me and knew of me, Michael Lewis, all these cats here knew me and what I was made of and what I was going to do, being I was out of APT, Alameda Plaza, Texas, over here in the Clark. And, I did times with like Jonathan Coleman, man, and, dudes like that that's out the Clark that, went through a way when, it wasn't a lot of harm Clark dudes in jail and going through prisons like that. And so we went through that, dudes like Brian Keith, BK, we went through that, and all these cats knew my character, knew me. But as I got older and I got a little bit wiser, I started doing things different. And when you start growing up and in the game and start doing different things, then dudes start looking at you different too, though, And so it's like losing that respect. But one thing you learn when you get older is that you don't have to prove anything to nobody anymore. You ain't got to prove nothing. You done did all the proving. So if you old and you still trying to prove to somebody, then you's a damn fool. You got to be a damn fool if you think you got to still uh, prove something to somebody. So, but when I was in my younger days, and like I say, I was going through that kind of jail stage and learning how to to fight inside those walls and how to learn the come on game, and how now to get myself in anybody else's business, So I had to, you learn these things. Even, you could be locked up for 20 years and still don't know how to do time. So when I hit Ferguson, was the first unit I hit, assigned facility outside of diagnosis and Go Read. But I have to tell you about that diagnosis in 1985. I think that was, and it was around by June. It was hot. and they put me in diagnosis, and you went to diagnosis, you had to stay there for 30 days. And back then, you couldn't even buy a fan. And I was way down there by the wall where that concrete was. Oh, it was hot. But I never get the experience, the first experience by being on diagnosis. I never forget this experience because, it was something that I had to get used to in prison, right? I was on one row, and I think they had like 2, 3 rows or something, like 3 rows over there. And they had, I didn't know about the homosexuals being placed out, like that through diagnosis stage, because you only come out your cell to go shower, and you come back, you go out your cell to go eat, and you come back. But I remember this here so well. I was on one row, and then they used to have this homosexual, this punk, used to sing the whole tank to sleep on that end. And you can hear him all the way to the other end, because it was some big turn roads, blocks, it was a lot of cells. And, this diagnosis, everybody going somewhere different, and everybody ain't going the same place. You get diagnosis, you're going through that diagnosis stage. And man, I got to tell y'all, man, and this was my first time in prison. I asked them, I say, hey, man, them women up there? They say, no, right out, that's them punks, man. That's when I knew. But back then, you never seen them punks. Every now and then you seen them because, the prisons was so serious back then. Like I said, I went to Ferguson. But every time they bring the punks out, everybody had to clear the hallways. They didn't mean with the population at all. And, I'm just thinking about that time now, that Ferguson time, going through the system, my first time. Hey, this is Andre Wade, and I'll be back with something else.